The construction industry is what we would dare say extremely hazardous. Not unlike other industries, the Occupational Safety and Health Act sets forth standards to ensure safety on construction sites. OSHA, as it's more commonly known, governs the law and how work sites are run. Unfortunately, many construction companies cut corners and do not properly follow the OSHA standards. Tragically, the failure to follow these standards leads to severe injuries and death. There are a number of different methods and ways that an accident can happen on a construction or a scrap site or a dismantling site. There's a number of different ways that an accident can occur on a construction site. One of the more common methods of an accident injuring someone are crane failures, boom lift failures, or man lift failures. Crane safety standards that are often violated include improperly setting up a crane collapse due to improper maintenance and failure to service. This could include tightening bolts, securing the turntable to the lift itself. It could include failing to choose the appropriate crane for a job, failing to be aware of a crane's operational limits, operating it without a pre-job inspection of some type, having the lessor or the person that leases the crane to you fail to inspect it and have failed to properly service it, and additionally using the crane outside of a manufacturer's specifications and instructions often leads to an accident that is generally fatal or disabling in many ways. Failure to adhere to these OSHA standards leads directly to these crane-related accidents. If you believe your OSHA rights are being violated, speak up. Don't be fearful of retaliation.
Well, we were working on an out-of-service crane on the yard at the time, me and another employee, and we were in the process of rigging it up to a truck crane because we were going to cut it up and scrap it. And we climbed, it's about 25, 30 feet, maybe a little more. We climbed up where we rigged to. And in the process of rigging up to the truck crane, the crane that we were standing on fell over, so we free fell about 25, 30 feet and landed on the boom. Literally saw my life flash before my eyes in that split second. Like when they say that, it's true. Like everything just flashed in that split second. I thought it was over, you know? And if I'd have been standing a foot to the left or a foot to the right, it might have been over. Probably would have been over because I'd have kept going. They got me down and we went to the hospital by ambulance, and they did scans, x-rays, and they found a few things, you know, some discs out of place, this and that. They just did the basic tests, but it was really the following day is when I woke up, when I felt it. You know, my back, my shoulder, my neck, I just couldn't move, couldn't get out of bed. You know, I guess the initial shock from everything wore off. Whenever, the next day when I woke up, I didn't think I would be right here. I thought, you know, it was gonna be a long road. The way I felt, the way it was hard for me to move, like I didn't know if I was gonna have mobility like I did before. I didn't know if I'd be able to work again, you know, support my family ever again. So it was really depressing, you know, there's a lot of emotions come out. You know, it's not just physical, it's emotional, mental, you know, there's a lot involved. I couldn't do anything after my accident. It was hard for me to get off the couch. It was hard for me to move around. Like, just to even get out of bed was a chore. So, you know, when I go from doing everything to doing nothing, it's rough. It's really, it's tough. Biggest fear was not being able to walk, not being able to do anything anymore, you know? You know, because you're in shock. The adrenaline from it, the shock from it, you don't know if what's broken, what's not. You don't know if you're gonna be able to walk again. You don't know if you're gonna be able to do anything again, you know? I decided to hire Patrick. I had initially hired a different attorney and was not getting anything accomplished. Like, every time I called, they were waiting. Like, I had to make calls. You know, why are you waiting on something when you should be calling and finding out stuff? So, Kerwin told me about Patrick, you know, and I contacted Patrick and talked to him, and as soon as I talked to him, I knew I was gonna hire him. Like just talking to him, I knew, that I was gonna hire him, and it just kind of went from there. It's really amazing to have people there to take care of you when really didn't even meet nobody at first. We was just over the phone, and even then, from the start, I was treated like family, like they really like they really care, It's not like other, I talk to other attorneys, it's not like that with them, you can tell they care. So, if you want somebody that's gonna care and have your back and get you what you need done, then Patrick's the one.
Jeff Schexnayder's case was quite unique. He was a scrapyard worker that would dismantle offshore cranes that were attached to offshore platforms. He was generally what's called a rigger, which he would climb the crane derricks, assemble the rigging or the slings from a crane to hold the other crane up that they were dismantling. This would require him often to reach heights of up to 50 feet. His supervisor on the project was actually not a co-employee of his. He worked for a different company. In this case, I established a defense to the borrowed employer doctrine, which identified that the quote-unquote supervisor of the job site gave no instruction to Jeff, thus invalidating the borrowed employer doctrine. We were able to recover for Jeff as a consequence something that would ordinarily not be recoverable. We were able to manufacture a proper suit with proper claims that were strategic in their formulation and avoided the normal pitfalls of this type of lawsuit. We are strategic, meticulous, and merciless.